Oh my gosh, is it that time already? We're just about ready for the red carpet. But first, have a look at our sponsor videos. Thank you so much for attending. We'll be with you in just a second.
Good evening, and congratulations to all of our award winners this evening. I'm Mary Kay Lanzalotta with Hartman Cox Architects, and on behalf of our entire firm, we want to congratulate everyone for their well-deserved awards. You're going to hear about these folks later, but I do want to especially recognize the Public Service Award, which is being named in honor of Don Meyer. Don is not with us any longer, but he has set such an incredibly high bar for the rest of us. Don's service is recognized around the city and across the country, and we are so pleased to be giving him this award this evening.
On behalf of HIT Contracting, we just want to say congratulations and a job well done to all the award winners tonight in celebration with AIA DC and the Washington Architectural Foundation.
We especially want to thank and congratulate William McDonough Partners for their work on the CoLab project and Shalom Baranis for the signature at Reston Town Center.
Good evening, I'm Steve Knight.
And I'm Michael Swartz.
And I'm Gregory Haas. As the president of David M. Schwartz, I want to wish all this year's winners hearty congratulations.
While we regret we can't gather with you in person this year, we're delighted that we could help host AIA's DC Fall Fête this year.
And we hope to see all of you in person in 2021. Congratulations.
From all of us at Simpson, Gumpertz & Hager, congratulations to all the winners, and thanks for all you do to strengthen our community.
On behalf of the partners, directors, and staff of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, I'm happy to congratulate all of this year's winners. SOM is so proud to support the Washington Architectural Foundation and this wonderful Fall Fête every year. We applaud you for your important work, educating and engaging the greater DC community about the promise of architecture and the power of design to transform our world. Congratulations.
We take on the toughest projects, the toughest challenges, the toughest sites.
We build everything from schools to stadiums,
office buildings, rail transit.
We get to make traffic better and improve safety of the users, both in cars or buses or pedestrians.
The projects we build are part of our everyday life.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for logging in. We're so glad to have you here and welcome to the red carpet. COVID threw us for a loop on this event. For a while we were going to do it live from the rooftop of the MLK library. When that fell through, we were going to do it live here at DAC. But since we're still in phase 2 at this point in DC, it seemed a bit risky. So to bring you all our players, Wendy Rieger, Stephen Wright, David DeLita, Robert Holzback, and all our honorees, it just felt a lot safer to film them separately and through the magic of video, bring it to you as one seamless production. But just because these images aren't live doesn't mean we aren't all watching together. You can register your attendance by using these hashtags. Also, we usually have a photographer at this event, so while you have that phone out in your hand, I need you to take a picture and tag us. We'll display the results in our upcoming newsletter and our blog. Also, it would be just grand if you can give a gift to the foundation this evening. I know some of you have helped sponsor and some of you have bought tickets, and we're so grateful for that. But for those of you just logging in, if you can find it in your heart tonight to give a donation, that would do a lot. Your gift will help a kid in Ward 7 explore architecture. Your gift will help a family facing food insecurity find well-stocked shelves at the Capital Area Food Bank. And most of all, your gift will show that our industry really cares about the local community. So show us some love and give tonight. Your text to give number is showing on the screen right now, and we'll run it a couple of times throughout the evening. Well, this is certainly a fete like no other. We are, of course, missing all of you, but we're really missing Alan Liu. We lost Alan Liu this year to COVID. Alan loved the fete, and we hope to celebrate him more fully at next year's event. But here to say a few words about Alan is Washington Architectural Foundation President Stephen Wright.
Thanks, Mary. Alan Liu was an amazing, accomplished leader who served our city well. He generously gave of his time to the foundation as president until the end of last year, when he moved home to work at the City University of New York. He did so much for our city, and in recognition of that, was awarded the Glenn Brown Award in 2014, which honors an individual who has raised public awareness of architecture and its benefits to society and who has improved the quality of life in Washington, D.C. Alan always liked to point out that more people attended the Fête the year he won the award, and he was right. 2014 was indeed our biggest year. So, as Mary said, at the request of his family and friends, we will do a more appropriate remembrance and celebration of Alan next year. But tonight, we remember him through the video he recorded with us in 2014.
If you ask people for symbols or iconic symbols, they generally point at buildings. I'm honored, that I'm being recognized. I'm humbled by it. I don't think in terms of awards and things and recognition. Maybe it's just the fact that it was in my DNA to demand excellence and to demand quality design and architecture. Some of our most creative and successful projects have been where the private and public sector are truly partners. Our product is a reflection of the various issues that have been communicated to us. The Convention Center was probably the first major building undertaken by the District of Columbia that probably can stand up next to some of the more prominent federal buildings that were in the nation's capital. The very early concepts were no more than a box, a huge box. And the concern the public had, the community had, was that it was going to create a wall between east and west. Ultimately, the solution was lowering the building 40% below grade, taking advantage of the topography and massing it in such a way so that the building was much more contextual and much more complementary of the building shapes and sizes surrounding it. I can't help but believe that the things that we're doing today, years from now, people, instead of tearing them down, will want to restore and preserve. Architecture really means a lot to me, and we would get into discussions, and my response was, let's find the right solution. Because if it's not really something we really want to do, then it doesn't matter what it costs. When we, truly identify great design, that it sells itself. I think this is the greatest city in the world, and I really think that, we're so fortunate to be living at a time when we could see all these things happen here.
On behalf of the foundation, and I'm sure everyone in D.C., I just want to say, Alan, thank you. You were greatly missed.
Thanks, Stephen, and I know Alan would really appreciate those kind words. Wow, there's been a lot of sadness in the world lately. I think I need a cocktail, and I know who can help me out. David DeLita is the brains behind this year's signature cocktail. David is a former president of our chapter, a fellow, and the winner of the 2012 Centennial Medal. Hey, David, can you show us how to mix the cocktail so that everybody is ready for the award show?
I'd love to. Today we're going to make the Honeybee Plus. To start that, we take a little warm water, about ½ an ounce, add that to the shaker. And then for the honey, we use the AIA Odd Honey made right here at the DAC. Put those two together and stir vigorously so that we can get the honey dissolved so that it will work its way into the drink. With the honey dissolved, we then add to that 2 ounces of rum. Now, for those of you that don't want quite so much buzz, we have a non-alcoholic version as well. And for that, we add this rum substitute that we've come up with. Rum substitute, apple juice, and a little bit of rum extract mixed together. Half a cup of apple juice, a tablespoon of rum extract creates a great rum substitute. Add 1 ounce of lemon juice, a little ice, and shake that vigorously for about 10 seconds. Once it's completely shaken, we take that, pour it into the glass. To that, we add lemonade. And add a little garnish. And here you go, the Honeybee Plus. Here's to all this year's recipients. Oh, that's great.
And now we're really getting close to the moment when all the magic happens and we get to give out the awards. In fact, it's in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Fitch, and welcome to a very different Fall Design Fête. We thank you so much for tuning in to celebrate the work of the Foundation, our amazing honorees, and our Design Award winners. I'm joined tonight by Rob Holzbach, President of the Washington Chapter of the American Institute of Architects, and Stephen Wright, AIA, President of the Washington Architectural Foundation. Together, we're going to give out the awards in a socially distanced way, but I'm glad to have their support. In a similar way, your presence here tonight is a great support to the Washington Architectural Foundation. We are dedicated to educating and engaging the greater DC community through the transformative power of architecture. And we do this in many ways. A model building class for a 10-year-old, a mentoring program for young women interested in our industry, a scholarship for a DC student to study architecture anywhere in the United States, or a crazy design competition with canned goods that helps take the edge off food insecurity in DC. The Washington Architectural Foundation serves the DC community every day. Thank you so much for caring about what we do. Now, Just a couple of side notes before we get going. First, we have a text to give campaign going, so if the spirit moves you, text WAF to 202-858-1233 if you'd like to lend your support. Also, if you want to congratulate our winners on social media, please do by taking out your phone and using the hashtag FallDesignFête. And now to really get things going, it's my honor to welcome our wonderful MC, Wendy Rieger. Ms. Rieger is an Emmy-winning news anchor for News 4, where she anchors the 5 p.m. broadcast. She also has an extensive record of service to the community. Her involvement has spanned many local organizations, including those dedicated to fighting cancer, protecting animals, and promoting human rights. We are so delighted to have her here with us this evening. Please join me in welcoming Wendy Rieger.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. Let's hope this doesn't catch on my earrings. Oh, thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this online version of one of my favorite events, and I always wanted to see what your homes were like, so now I feel like I'm in all of your homes right now. This is the Fall Design Fête, and we are honoring people tonight who make a difference in the work they do every day. They had an opportunity to give, and they really committed to service. Ruben Quesada, Associate, AIA, is going to show us a great example of architects giving back. Allison Pavlonis, AIA, is a leader in the chapter through her work helping other young architects succeed. Rusty Powell has served our city and our nation for decades. And Stephen Spurlock receives the Centennial Medal for his stellar record of service to the chapter, to the profession, and of course to our community. We have several new awards this year as well. Lindsay May, AIA, wins the inaugural Architect Educator Award. HIT Contracting Collab Project wins the Partnership for the Planet Award. And we celebrate the life and legacy of Donald Beekman Meyer, FAIA, with the first ever Public Service Award, which has been named in his honor. If there is a through line to this evening, a central idea to take away, it's that these individuals care about much more than just their day jobs. They embrace the responsibility to do more and to participate in making the world a better place. As Mary explained, this event supports the community work of the Washington Architectural Foundation. Begun in 1987 by members of the AIA DC chapter, Foundation volunteers are working every day to engage the community through the transformative power of architecture. The foundation teaches children and adults about the world around them and helps to feed hungry families throughout the DC area. Over the last 30 years, program volunteers have delivered education and service that has broadened the resources given back to the community. Last year alone, more than 200 volunteers were associated with the foundation's work. So let's take a moment to learn more about the foundation.
At the Washington Architectural Foundation, we want everyone to understand the transformative power of architecture. Our programs are open to all. We have school programs, weekend classes, and summer camps for kids. Thanks to the generosity of our members, we also have college scholarships for students in architecture. And it's so meaningful to be able to give a scholarship to somebody who's really going to make a difference in the world. The foundation also supports adult programming like Architecture Month, where the whole city is our classroom. Our annual design competition helps the Capital Area Food Bank combat food insecurity in our region while demonstrating the cleverness of our design teams. Since 1998, this effort has donated more than 80,000 cans of food a year, which equates to thousands of pounds of help for the food bank. All this is done with an amazing group of volunteers who give their time and their talent to help the foundation meet its mission. We believe everyone deserves a say in how their communities are designed, and our programs equip everyone, young and old, to join the conversation.
The foundation is so proud of all of these volunteers who serve in the community. This is all very important, inspiring work that deserves our support. So I'm delighted now to introduce our first two honorees. Their impressive credentials are in your programs, which we hope you've downloaded from the website. In our video introductions, you're going to hear some very personal stories about their involvement in making Washington a strong community and their work on behalf of social justice and equity. The Weeb Award, as it's known, honors architects who make a difference by doing work for the public good. It's named for John Wiebinson, whose extensive body of pro bono work is a profound example of the public spirit of architecture. Now let's learn about this year's winner.
It's important for architecture to serve the public interest because ultimately the users and the inhabitants are the ones that should be dictating what the space is. I grew up in Costa Rica, I'm Latino, and my dad was an architect, and I grew up watching him do it. Came over here to the United States looking for an education, and I was lucky enough to get those opportunities. I think for me, I have been very blessed, but there's a lot of other work to do for people that don't get the same opportunities here. So I've started to volunteer for Liberty's Promise, which is a philanthropy here in the district that helps immigrant children get used to the United States society. So I've been able to have a discussion with them and tell them about architecture and the opportunities that there are if you were to become an architect. What got me interested in helping the community was actually my family. My grandmother had a philanthropy called the Blue Rose Foundation back in Costa Rica to help children who had Down syndrome. So from a young age, I was going to events and I knew that I wanted to help others. Once I came over here to DC, we started looking into ways for our firm to help the community. And that's when I started getting more involved with some, who is So Others Might Eat. And then later on started diverting into other philanthropies. As a firm, we've come up with a system where we usually raise around $10,000 and we choose democratically who we want to be helping. I don't know if this is gonna sound selfish, but I feel a great level of satisfaction, inner satisfaction, by helping other people. And I think when you work as an architect, you realize that your work is really not about you, but it's more about everybody else and how it affects everyone. And I've realized that by working with So Others Might Eat, you're able to actually see and feel, because you live in the same community with these people. You know, what is being built around you has an effect on the people of that neighborhood. And if we don't have a stance on it, it's very hard for people to really benefit from architecture.
Please join me in congratulating the 2020 winner of the John Wiebinson Award for Architecture in the Public Interest, Ruben Casada, Associate AIA. Now I'm going to ask Stephen Wright to introduce this next award.
Thank you, Wendy. The Donald B. Meyer Public Service Award recognizes an elected or appointed organization, individual, public administrator, or institutional leader who establishes and contributes to the development of laws, regulations, policies, or initiatives that promote excellence in architecture and design in Washington, D.C. Our late friend Don Meyer is its inaugural laureate, and the award has been renamed in his honor. Let's learn about Don's record of public service.
Years ago, the common image of an influential architect was that of an auteur who designed buildings by themselves based on their own personal, singular vision. In contrast, architects who helped guide projects done by others were sometimes not considered to be real architects at all. Today, however, we know that the citizen architect, meaning a person who is involved with the community and represents its interests, often has a far greater and lasting impact. Long before the concept of the citizen architect became popular, Donald Beekman Meyer was serving the community. In his work with the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts, Meyer championed architectural, landscape design, and civic planning excellence. As a strong advocate of historic preservation, he helped guide iconic local projects such as the Washington Metro System, the Vietnam Memorial, and the Holocaust Museum through the design and approval process. His career showed that design review can work to the advantage of architecture and the community. He was particularly effective in his tireless efforts to ensure a lively mix of old and new, and in so doing, enlightened a generation of architects and Washington residents to the value of design. As architect David M. Childs once wrote, "All Americans are in Don's debt for his steadfast guardianship to their federal city." Upon leaving the commission, Meyer found a higher calling at literally the highest point in the city, as the clerk of the works for Washington's National Cathedral, helping to preserve this important institution for years to come. The Foundation's Public Service Award recognizes an individual who establishes and contributes to the development of laws, regulations, policies, or initiatives that promote excellence in architecture and design in Washington, D.C. Don Meyer's career did just that. And in his honor, the award is now called the Donald B. Meyer, FAIA Public Service Award.
And we send our warmest wishes to Don's family and celebrate his legacy of service with this award. And now for another new feature of this pandemic Fête. We are going to be celebrating the projects that won design awards in the chapter design and Washingtonian competitions. These awards are all featured in the current issue of Architecture DC magazine and will be the focus of an online exhibition starting in November. We're going to look at the first 9 of 29 projects now. So grab a cocktail. Hello, there's always one near me, always, because you know your girl. Grab a cocktail and enjoy these amazing works of architecture. And then at the end of the evening, I'm going to reveal who won the grand award. So let's take a look. I'm drinking this. Oh my goodness, that's very good. Now present our Emerging Architect Award. This award is presented to an individual who has shown exceptional leadership and made significant contributions at an early stage in their career So let's learn about our honoree.
I think the pandemic has forced me to slow down a lot, and it has allowed me to be more introspective for lots of reasons, to think about all of the things that have been going on. I think the big thing that I always try to tell other emerging professionals is that it's so important to advocate for yourself. I don't think that's architecture specific. I think that's universal to anybody, but I think I've benefited a lot being a part of the committee and also being a part of Christopher Kelly. That I have a very diverse and supportive network of peers here in DC that has helped me, to be a better advocate for myself and also to try and mentor others along the way in that process. I have always felt that involvement in the AIA was important because it helped me to go beyond the boundaries of my firm. I think it really has helped me individually to grow as a leader as much as an architect. I think the profession could do a better job of inclusivity as a whole. I think it's really important that, we as a chapter and other chapters are giving back to try and make sure that there is design exposure at a really young age and maybe focusing some of those efforts in communities that might be underserved and might need additional resources. I also think that the avenues that the chapter has provided can be really productive, and I think architects in general as people feel some obligation for a level of service. I think that's why a lot of people are in the profession, because they do feel empowered to give back. And I think that being involved in the Washington Architectural Foundation and the DAC in general really allows people to give back in the ways that they're trained to. And it can be really fulfilling, and it has been for me.
Please join me in congratulating Allison Pavlonis, AIA, the 2020 Emerging Architect winner. For this next award, I'm going to ask Mary to come up and introduce it.
Thanks, Wendy. The Architect Educator Award recognizes an organization or individual for excellence in the advancement of architectural education at all levels, K-12 through postgraduate. And that can be through teaching, design, scholarship, research, or service. Let's learn a little about our inaugural winner.
Architecture lets the public dream big by imagining the way the world could be if it didn't look just the way it does now. Being the founder of a small architecture firm and being involved in academics, I think brings me back to what it means to design and what good design is. At school, I'm constantly being asked by students, but why? What does it mean to be a good architect or to be an architect at all? What is good design? And I think having to articulate that over and over gives me the confidence and gives me the practice to really step back and consider what I want to be as an architect. What is good design and what is a good architect? So getting the Architect Educator Award was really important, that it had both components, and it wasn't just an architectural award, it wasn't just an educator award, but it really was a recognition of bringing these two different sides of the profession together and kind of trying to hold both equally, which is really hard to do, but I think really important for me personally in my career. I think it's important for educators and educators in architecture to be involved broadly, whether it's through the AIA or through community groups or through service or mentorship. Being an educator in architecture means you're teaching about design, but you're also part of the bigger picture. I think one really exciting area of opportunity for DC is to increase its design diversity. And that involves increasing the diversity of the types of people who work in design, but also increasing the diversity of the types of design we see, whether it's in public space, whether it's in hospitality or residential or commercial space. There's a whole world of design out there, and I think DC is just scratching the surface. So I'm excited for the next chapter of designers like me, like my students, like my peers and my colleagues to really make DC a great design city.
Please join me in congratulating Lindsay May, AIA, the 2020 Architect Educator winner. There you go. And now let's grab yet another cocktail and get on social media and watch our next 9 great works of architecture. Thank you. We are going to continue our program by presenting our Glenn Brown Award, which celebrates an individual who has improved the quality of life in DC, raised awareness of its benefits to society. The Glenn Brown Award is named for one of the founders of the chapter and given jointly by the chapter and the foundation. So let's hear about our distinguished honoree.
Art and architecture live in the same space. A great building is a work of art. The city, to me, always looks traditionally beautiful. I lived in the city for several years, and then we lived in Los Angeles for 12 years, which is a cacophony of architecture, as everyone knows. And then I returned again, and I thought what was very nice about it is not that much had changed, but everything had changed. And that's what appeals to me about Washington. I think classical Washington is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the newer achievements of architecture in Washington are very exciting. The National Gallery, for instance, both the West Building and the East Building were treated as works of art. Not just, they were part of the collection. And the attentiveness to restoration of the West Building, which needed a lot of work over the new systems, new galleries. We were able to do all of that, and at the end of it, it looked just as though John Russell Pope's hand had passed over it, which is what we wanted. And the same with the East Building. Those are bona fide works of art. There are many buildings in Washington, in my opinion, that would qualify for that. I think people should be required to take Architecture 101 at whatever level they are in their education. I think being aware of public buildings, private buildings, aware of the environment, aware of the green space is something almost characterized, I think, as a civic duty. And the values should be high, and the standards should be high, it seems to me, and that's what my work on the Commission has tried to be for, and what I personally believe.
So please join me in congratulating Rusty Powell for his many achievements. And now, to introduce another new award, here is Robert Holzbach, AIA President of the chapter.
Thanks, Wendy. In concert with the AIA's Climate Action Priority, the Partnership for the Planet Award recognizes an individual, firm, or team which has championed sustainable and resilient development in the Washington, D.C. region. This award goes to individuals, firms, or teams who are doing cutting-edge work, going well beyond current requirements, and leading the way to a more sustainable city and region. Let's look at the winning team.
On behalf of the entire HIT contracting team, it means a lot to have a passion project where all of us were really behind the collaboration and making a difference, be recognized, in a different way.
The lab project really was an evolution. It started off originally as a gymnasium, something for our team members to use, and this is probably back 12, 15 years ago. It became something that started evolving, then it became an idea of creating a mock-up space. So not just make it a space to do mock-ups, but make the entire building a mock-up in and of itself.
When I think about the mission of the CoLab, it really is the first outward expression in research and development at HIT. It's not a secret that we have not spent a whole lot of time, money, or resources in evolution. We still use the same sticks and bricks that we did 50 years ago. And so we thought, what better way than to really try to be a catalyst for change in the industry?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main points of the CoLab here. We're looking for efficiencies. We're looking for ways to transform the industry. I think one of the big benefits that we have from the CoLab is that we're sharing everything we're doing with the entire industry.
When we partner with varying stakeholders, architects, designers, engineers, subcontractors, the change happens much faster, and that's something that's really important.
Everything we do goes right up on the internet. We're not hiding this. This is not something that's just for HIT contracting and for our owners. This is something that if somebody takes one of our ideas and builds upon it and creates a better mousetrap, we're very happy about that.
We're certainly happy that it's recognized as one of the greenest buildings. We set out from the very beginning to be different and to really challenge ourselves.
And really it goes from everything from efficiency to driving down costs, to really trying to also make sure that we create the safest work environment for the tradespersons on our sites.
I would say the CoLab is just our first catalyst. We have several projects in the pipeline that I think will continue to evolve that mission.
So I think it sets the bar for ourselves to keep pushing ourselves to try to do more things and work more closely with the design community, the ownership community moving forward.
So please join me in congratulating HIT Contracting on their CoLab project. And now we're going to look at the last 9 of our project award winners. And then at the end of this segment, we're going to reveal the grand award winner. So stay tuned for that and watch this. Now I'm going to introduce you to our grand award winner, the Aya by Studio 27 and Leo A. Daly. Not only is this a beautiful work of architecture, it has such a noble purpose. This building provides short-term housing for homeless families. Not only did this project win a chapter award, it also won a Washingtonian award. It is a truly inspiring building in a moment when we could all really use some inspiration. So congratulations to Studio 27, Leo A. Daly, for this beautiful gift to our city.
Hi, this is Ward 6 Council Member Charles Allen. I'm standing outside of the Aya, which is now an award-winning building, and I want to send a quick congratulations to Studio 27 and Leo A. Daly for their fantastic work, being recognized by the DC chapter of the American Institute of Architects and the Washingtonian. This is a great building. We're incredibly proud of it here in Ward 6. 50 families are going to have safe, dignified housing when they're facing housing insecurity. It's got great design, both inside and out, to help take care of families who are probably at one of their worst moments. But we know that we can do a great job for our city, and it's with buildings like this that really get the job done. So congratulations to everybody, and thanks for everybody for the hard work that went into this.
Hello, I'm Keith Anderson, Director of DC's Department of General Services. On behalf of Mayor Muriel Bowser, we are excited that Studio 27 Architecture's design for the Aya has won the Grand Award for Best Building Design in Washington, D.C. This is a very special recognition for our residents, those we serve, and all that had the opportunity to be part of this pivotal project. The Aya is part of Mayor Bowser's initiative to create pathways to the middle class by giving families experiencing homelessness access to resources and services in a safe space to rebuild their lives. Our job at DGS is to make supportive facilities a reality, and we are humbled that this building is meeting the city's mission. It also shows that building design has an important role in empowering every community. Congratulations, Studio 27.
Hello, I'm Laura Zeilinger, Director at the District of Columbia Department of Human Services, and I'm thrilled today to congratulate Studio 27 and Leo A. Daly for the Grand Design Award. We are so proud of the Aya and the asset that it brings to the district's short-term family housing program. The Aya provides safety to 50 families at any given time while they weather a housing crisis and transition to permanency in the community. Not only does the Aya provide these essential services, but it does so in a way that reflects our values. By closing DC General and replacing overflow shelter and motels with sites like the Aya, Mayor Bowser has fulfilled her commitment to families, and as a community, we have said to families, and more importantly, we have shown families that we care about them. The Aya takes a relatively small footprint of land, and it retains a wonderful community health clinic, but it also provides services and space for children to be children. An indoor playground, spaces to study and learn and do homework, spaces for parents to engage in services, conference room space for staff and for meetings. And we've seen that when we invest in families in this way, they are able to not only feel better as they come in, but they're able to transition out of the crisis of homelessness into permanent housing more quickly. I want to congratulate again our architectural partners. I want to acknowledge the tremendous work here of Core DC with our families, the leadership of the mayor in putting short-term family housing throughout the city, and again, want to just acknowledge how grateful we are for the fantastic design which exceeded our wildest imagination of what we could do for our families. Thanks again.
Our final award for the evening is the Centennial Medal for distinguished service to the chapter, the profession, and to the community. This is the highest honor that the chapter can bestow, and it commemorates the chapter's centennial in 1987. So let's learn about this year's recipient.
One of the reasons people get into architecture is because they have an artistic bent in their life. They want to be able to express it. Others are fascinated by the way things are built, and others do it because they want to make the world a better place. Why should we care about architecture? It's where we live, it's where we spend all of our time. It keeps us safe, and it keeps us sound, and it keeps us protected, and it enriches our lives. It has to be done carefully and creatively and sustainably so that we leave something for our children and our grandchildren. Young people coming out of school now are much more aware of things like climate change and the quality of our environment. I think that brings them into the profession, which I think is really a healthy thing. People need to be educated about the importance of architecture, and they need to understand that we spend, 80 or 90% of our lives inside of a building, and there has to be a quality to that space, and if there's no quality there, then you don't really have the ability to live as rich a life. That's one of the reasons I was so delighted to have had the opportunity to be involved with the creation of the center here. We were in a small, unsustainable, inaccessible row house back in a residential neighborhood where nobody knew who we were, what we did, and it took a leap of faith. I really do believe that the center here has transformed our chapter. It's put us on the map. It's made us a center of architecture, and I'm very, very proud and very, very honored to have had a role in making that happen. And if that's the one legacy I leave, then that's a good one. In addition to practicing as a traditional architect, I've had this wonderful opportunity, really almost throughout my career, of working in collaboration with artists, with DC artists. Primarily an artist named Sam Gilliam, who's a very prominent African-American artist, and I was able to build his studio for him. He's in now his current studio when he moved off of U Street, and he said something to me once that was like the nicest thing a client ever said to me. He said, "Stephen, I feel like I have to do better work because of the space you designed for me." I don't know how you could have a better compliment to an architect. I'm very honored, very flattered, and very humbled. I've lived my life thinking that, what goes around comes around. If you do good things for people, things come back around to you. So maybe in some respects, this come back around.
Please join me in congratulating Steven Spurlock, FAIA. As president, it is Rob's duty to award the Centennial Medal, and through the magic of video, we are going to do that in an appropriately social distanced way. And congratulations, Stephen, and great catch.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored.
Thank you all for tuning in this evening. This was a different format, but the pride the chapter and the foundation feel for these accomplishments and all of these winners is as strong as ever. This is an extraordinary time in the history of our city and our country. We can only hope that at the end of all of this, we will be the better for the hard work we have done to give everyone hope and to give everyone equal opportunity. And architecture is a big part of that. You inspire the world with what you do, so keep doing it. And I hope we can all gather again in person next year. And let's, oh my goodness, there's that drink again. Let's drink to that. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Congratulations.
We have a Tax to Give campaign going, so if the spirit moves you, sorry.
We add lemonade. And add a little garnish.
The only thing missing is alcohol. Fake rum. Okay, I'll get fake drunk.
Thank you, Wendy. The Donald B. Meyer Public Service Award recognizes an elected.
Years ago, the common image, lost it.
Walk and chew gum.
Now we're going to do it again sideways.